Okay, so today let us just say we are going to look at the character of the king as a cause of the French Revolution in 1789. So, when we are looking at Louis, it is believed that he was coronated as a king at a very, very tender or young age, which then affected part and parcel of his reign for quite a long period of time. So the king, if we are to go direct when it comes to how his character resulted in the outbreak of the French Revolution, we are told that the king was indecisive. That is the first character that we are given. So if you read Andrew Matthews, if you read um, Dennis Richards, if you read any of those textbooks, they tell you that the king was indecisive. So when we're talking about being indecisive, it means that Louis could not make a concrete decision. In other words, you would make a decision today and then tomorrow you would withdraw that decision. So like what girls, let me give you an example of how girls are indecisive. You go to them today and say I love you, and then tomorrow if they agree today, they say okay, okay, and then tomorrow they're like no, 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 no. I didn't say yes exactly. I was just saying we can be friends, maybe. So they don't know when they are saying left, they don't know when they are saying what, right? That is what we're talking of when you're looking at Louis as being indecisive. So we are saying the king could make a decision today, and then tomorrow he would withdraw that one, the decision. So I would like the part where you were giving me sort of like him putting controller generals to deal with the financial crisis, and then tomorrow he dismisses that same person whom he had appointed to deal with a particular problem. So he could not make a decision whether he wanted to solve the problem or he could not make solve the problem. So you would hire a controller general today, and then tomorrow he fires that same controller general, which means that the king was indecisive. Are we together? That is the first kind. You see how I have explained his indecisive. Okay, number two, we hear that the king was incompetent. The king was incompetent. So when you're talking about somebody being incompetent, which means that you are not living up to your standard, you are not doing things up to the standards that are expected of you, which was another trait that the king had. The king could not, act or could not do his duties up to what he was expected of, up to the expectations of the people. So Louis, in as much as he was supposed to deal with the problems that were facing France, that is all the problems the third estate was facing, Louis could not come up with ways, he could not come up with means or solutions to solve that which means he was incompetent. His incompetence, for example, let's look at what Dennis Richards says about the system of the ancient regime. They say that at one point a parish priest asked it, for a leaking roof to be repaired, and it took 10 years for the government to come and fix that leaking roof. So which means that the king was what? Was incompetent. He could not provide services to the what? To the people. So that is another trait that we are looking at. We are looking at Louis the what? Louis the system. Then apart from that, we are told that the king was extravagant. In other sense, he was extravagant. So when we are talking about extravagance, the king is believed to have held almost each and every week ceaseless banquets in Versailles. Banquets, they are those parties that were held by the nobles and the clergy. And then those guys did not do anything. They did not pay taxes. They didn't. So where were they getting the money to hold those parties, those banquets that they hold? Then the other part of his extravagance comes through his wife, that is Marie Antoinette. We hear that she would wear as many pairs of shoes a week. We are also told that she spent millions of jewelry on jewelries almost every year. So where was she getting such money? So if she was using the people's money that they were using to pay taxes and all that stuff, then it means that then this extravagance is the one that resulted in France being bankrupt by 1789. So that is how the character of the king, particularly in this case, we are looking at it extravagance. Then apart from the idea of extravagance, the king was a coward. You get the sense? Right. When we are talking about Louis being a coward, we are told that Louis could sleep in And then he could even prefer hunting to attending state meetings. So what kind of a king is that? You are sitting down, you want to address the problems that the country is facing, and then your leader is the one who decides to, go on a hunting spree instead of addressing the situation, or cry in meetings when things became, so complicated to deal with. So that is how the character of the king resulted in the outbreak of the French Revolution. So that is what we are talking of. That is what you are supposed to write, is the character of the king. So for today, yes, I've just given you those four, and then you expand them. Then you've given me the character of the what? Of the king. Which means when you are writing your essay, what I'm expecting to get is the character first. Don't tell me about what the king did. Because, yes. Yes, the king was incompetent. That is what you put in your introduction. That is your introduction. And those are points now. You get the sense? You are not explaining anything. You are simply giving me what? Point. Then you're done. Are we done on the character of the king?